Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the headlining for the Range Rover. The other side has dried, so I've turned the headlining over and we can see the back. And to show you a bit of a close-up, here is where the crack is that we put the paper on the other side. It's already dried. Although it does look like these are cracks, these are actually just folds in the cardboard, or paper I should say. So it's paper backed, and there is some damage. This big white area is where it ripped. When it came off, it ripped a big chunk of the paper out from the paper backing, and in fact on this one, I don't know if it's coming out, I can see the little outline. It actually tore a massive chunk out of the paper backing, and there's a tear in there as well. So we're going to patch that bit there, not because it's come up, but just because it is a tear. There are some cracks in it, I guess over time or what was done. So we're going to repair these as well, and some of the small dents and cracks that are in it. This is the area that we done the other side with the wood in. It was cracked, so we're going to do this. There's some separation there. There is some damage on this corner, although some of this corner was actually cut away anyway, because this is where the rear wiper motor sits, comes in through this corner here. So I'm not sure how much I need to build up there. There is a cutout. It's also broken here, so we're going to reinforce this side and we're going to fill it from the other side, and that's pretty much it. So there's a tear here, crack, so we'll put some on there. Well, we'll start with this piece here. So first, got my premix of 2:1 PVA. Get a liberal coating on the back here. This actually does mark, as you may be able to see earlier, this does leave a mark in the cardboard or the paper, original paper, although this is the top side that goes against the roof itself, so it doesn't really matter. I can't see it being any issue at all. So. Well, it looks like I've torn this bit. Not something I'm going to worry about. If necessary, I can always put a little strip over there later. I've just pulled it a bit tight actually to make sure it came up tight nicely to the edging. It was a bit wet, so there we go. Yeah, we'll put an additional patch on there a bit later. Okay, so there's the first bit done. Now what I'm going to do is this bit here. I'll move the paper out of the way. This is a big crack. Now this, I think, was either done when it was made, or it's happened over the time with heat inside the vehicle. But even so, I think it would be prudent to fix it, as we're in the process of making good anyway. You can buy replacement headliners if you don't really want to go through this process. However, there's nothing wrong with these headliners apart from the fact that they got damaged when it was taken out. The next bit we're going to repair is the torn part, which was torn when removing. I'm just going to patch this so it can't get caught and ripped any further, and then we'll look at the corner repair, which I'm going to bolster or strengthen with some cardboard, very light cardboard, and then paper over the top of it. Because there is nothing on the other side, I need something to give it a little bit more strength. I'll leave that one to dry. It's this bit here that's broken. The rest of it's fallen away, but we still have the paper. So what I'm going to do, and this hole here is actually a fixing hole. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give that a bit more support, more paper over the top after it's dried. I don't want to make it too big, but obviously we can cut the hole afterwards, so I think that's good enough. We will wrap the paper around and across once we've filled this area in. For now, we'll just give this a glue down. I'm going to put a couple of clamps on this to make sure that we stay nice and tight. Just pressing it down and squeezing the glue through. So I'll put a clamp on right on this area here where it's paper bit only. So we'll cover that with paper to reinforce the corner. The other bit I wanted to show you was the break or the crack at the back. So still a little gap there, I can get my nail in. So we're going to put some full thickness glue in here. Then we're going to wrap this paper, which came from the other side. I need to trim it to size. And then we'll put a clamp on there. Well, I'm not going to bore you with a lot more of this just basic paper covering. There's a couple of areas which I will show you where the fiberglass has actually deteriorated and gone, like that area we showed just now where I reinforced it with cardboard, and I'll show you how I'm going to make up that distance, that thickness, and the rest of it is just pretty much just tidying up. That's pretty much it finished. I've now finished this side of the top. I've done lots of extra bits. In fact, in the end I even repaired this corner which needs a cut out, but we'll deal with that later. The rest of it I've patched all over. There's some small cracks and holes. I've made sure that it's sealed across the whole thing, and we're ready to turn it over. No, we're not ready to turn it over. I've sealed the whole thing all the way through. I've also filled the speaker holes. I'm actually going to cut these out. It's just easier to put a whole patch over that hole and then cut out afterwards and put them back in. The bit I was going to show you, which I came back for, was the hole in the centre. Now this is the light fixing, and that comes up underneath, so it fits in this hole from underneath, so it fit the other way around. However, if we look closely here, the paper on the surface has actually separated completely from the fiberglass head lining itself. Although I started to patch it previously, I was not aware that this was not fixed. So what we're going to do is I'll set the camera up I'm going to fill it full of glue, full weight glue, and we'll clamp it together with some small clamps. Then once it's dry, we'll turn it over and we'll look at the other side and how we can ensure that this fits in there nicely, and we'll hold it up without damaging the headlining. We're going to use some full weight glue and we'll fit it all under here. This is the paper, this is the fiberglass here inside, and this is the fiberglass inside. So what we need to do is get glue right up under here and get them bonded back together. Okay, let's get some clamps on there. Well, I think that's it. We'll come back and have a look at it when it's dry. Well, it's now dry, as you can see, but I've also put an additional patch over that area. I did exactly the same on this one as I did on the speaker holes. I've patched the whole thing with the intention of cutting the hole out afterwards. It's now dry, so we're going to turn it over. So that was the last thing to do on this side. Well, here we are turned over, and here's the light fitting. That's the one that screws through the headlining, and it actually is part of the mounting of the headlining. The headlining is only held up in about 4 places, the centre being one of them, the 2 handrails, which are 2 others, which I've already shown you. This will be fitting in there and pulling tight through there and pulling down to, or up to, the cross member. The other place which this is mounted is that area there. Okay, now I've put it slips under, so if you imagine this upside down, there's a piece of metal there which is part of the car, and it slips between there and the roof, and that holds it. Didn't had a big dent in it and starting to break away, so I've reinforced that area with some thin cardboard or thick paper, whichever way you'd like to think of it. I'm going to cover that in another piece of paper just to ease the edges, and that will be finished. The speaker grills here, or the speaker holes I should say, where the rear speakers of the vehicle go, this is from the back. We'll cut that out and we will do the same on this side. Cut out the circles for the speaker grills. What we're going to do is put another piece over here. We'll cover it up, and we'll cover up the holes, and then we'll cut them out again. I've cut out the centre hole. However, if we look, there's some damage all around here. When I removed the original, because it pulled so tight, as you can see, this pulled in here, and because this was so soft, the fiberglass is actually stuck, and it's actually pulled away. So what we're going to do is do the same as we did on the other side, and we're going to patch this, and then we're going to, when it's dry, we'll cut the centre out, and we'll do exactly the same as we did the other side, just to give this a bit more strength. The other thing which has happened to this, there are some sort of major damage dents on here which need filling, and in fact there are some areas where such as this, which are completely gone. That's just the paper backing that's left, so this needs building up. And the same with this corner. If you remember, I said I rebuilt the corner. There's part of it is to be cut out, but some of this is already broken away. And there are a couple of places along the edge which are exactly the same. I've reinforced this with cardboard on the other side so I can build it up. Haven't quite decided how to build that up yet, but we'll see how it goes, because obviously we've got to fill these holes in as well. Now is other damage. That there, the light area, is where the surface has been ripped off, and I need to finish covering them up. So what I do is put the paper patches on like this. This stop it getting ripped any further. And after the paper is dried, this is the patch where the wooden insert is. There are 2 holes in the wooden insert already, just getting a sharp, doesn't matter what you use. I'm using a scalpel. It's got a nice sharp edge and a nice fine point, and we'll just trace out the hole. And this needs doing on both sides. And the reason I do this, as opposed to just leaving it and poking the screws through later on, is that I don't really, what I'm really trying to stop is the paper getting torn away from the hole, sort of further away, and getting ripped away and end up ruining the work that I've done. If I cut the holes out, there is no paper to pull out, and it will be all nice and clean, like I did with the other holes, which are already cut on both sides. This one obviously needs both sides. As you can see, the paper is still on the other side. Quick update with where we are. The holes that were here, I've filled up. There's another one up there, I haven't quite finished yet. There was some damage here which I've taken care of, and some damage here which I've taken care of. As I said, it's not quite finished, but they had to dry before we can patch them. I used tissue paper and glue, and when I say tissue paper, I mean Kleenex, like a Kleenex tissue, really soft, and put glue in it and screwed it up and minced it together, and it's ideal for replacing or repairing damaged and missing parts. I've got a couple more areas to do. There's one gouge there, and I think that's about it. I want to show you also where I repaired the corner here, which was completely missing, so I've done this as well, and we will be covering that with paper just to make sure that it doesn't have any chance of falling out. Anyway, that's a quick update, and we'll get back to it after I've done the next bit. That's all finished now, apart from one part, which is this corner here, which needs rebuilding, which I think I'm going to use the same method as I did with the others, which I've now covered over, which was the Kleenex tissue mixed up with glue, which is nice. And also, if you can remember, I used it on this corner and built up this corner as well, which has worked excellent. However, the corner has been broken away quite a bit, so I think before I build this up, because I don't want to build it right up because it doesn't go all the way to here. Cut out where I need to build up to and then just build up, rather than build the whole thing up and then cut it out afterwards. We're back with the head lining, and this is what the corner is like. Because I want to do this hard and fast, and because this is and it's still fragile, I've decided all I'm going to do is paint it, and I'm going to paint it grey. I'm not too worried about the edges of this paper. It doesn't seem to have a large step on it. Obviously there are some with wrinkles in, however I'm not really worried about that. It's certainly not going to look as bad as the Bedouin tent issues. The colour will be nice and consistent overall. I haven't decided what paint. I'm thinking maybe just household paint, or maybe undercoat, or maybe primer. Sorry these videos are getting a little bit long. I am trying to hone my editing skills. I am all new to this. If you have any comments or suggestions on how maybe I can improve, then please do leave a comment below. Please hit the subscribe button, that would really help me out. If you like my videos, please hit the notifications and you'll find out as soon as the next one comes out. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.